You're listening to a BGE podcast.
We're talking all things bacon. You got to stay tuned for this one. You're going to love it. And you're going to find out how easy it is to make bacon of your own in your own house. Oh, it's going to be good. We also got a special guest in studio. Going to be talking about his method, comparing it to mine when it comes to making bacon. I just love saying that, making bacon. Woo! Welcome back to the Blind Grilling Experience. My name is Chris Peltz. I am the most interesting griller in the world. You'd agree with that, right, Vince?
Second, maybe?
Oh, you're hurting me. You come on the program and then, oh, man.
No, you definitely, you're up there.
I'm up there. That's right. All right, folks, we got Vince Sabras here with us today. And Vince, he's not a stranger to the program. He's been on several times before, and glad to have you back, brother.
Hey, Chris, it's good to be here. It's good to be able to talk to your audience again.
Yeah, man, absolutely, because you've been busy on that big green egg.
Have I? Yeah. I mean, I feel like with the current events going on in my life right now, I'm a little bit slower. But, we're getting into the nice weather here in Missouri.
Yeah.
Missouri, we have a rainy, a lot of rain winter and spring, but we tend to get like the spring and early summer, we get a really nice stretch of weather here.
Yeah,
so
we do. Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's make me want to be outside and cook, and I'm trying to use it.
Sure. Yeah, man. Yeah. Any upcoming plans? Cook plans?
Let's see, upcoming. I have a brisket. It's been sitting in my fridge for a couple weeks now.
Okay.
I think I gotta get that on there soon.
Sweet.
I don't. I bought a half of beef recently, which is a half of a steer. I got that about 2 weeks ago, and I got steaks, and I got some of the the basic roasts, and then a lot of ground meat, because that's what my kids will eat.
Yeah,
So
sure. Yeah.
the last time I got a half a steer, I got a bunch of the fancier cuts for myself to have fun.
Oh yeah.
Smoking them, and most of it my kids didn't want to eat. So
Oh man.
it's hard to feed little kids.
Yeah. It can be. Sometimes that can be a benefit for you. Get to eat more, but
Yeah.
no, you're trying to feed the kids, right? And if they're not going to eat, that's a bummer. So
Yeah, and I got my wife with her current situation, being pregnant, she does not have a taste for barbecue a lot of times.
Okay.
And,
yeah.
but I have been using my egg a lot to do things like burgers,
Right.
just pizzas. We cook pizzas on there.
Yeah.
Today my oven broke, and I even made. It was kind of a hectic day in my house. I didn't get time to really prepare supper before I left the house to come to Springfield, and I made chicken nuggets on the egg because my oven broke. So
Oh man. Yeah.
yeah,
There you go.
that's what I fed my kids.
I tell you what's crazy. So, of course, everyone knows because I've mentioned it before. My oven had broke. Your oven broke. Another listener's oven had broke. There was this TV show, maybe even a movie. I don't remember, but something I was watching, and this has been years ago, so I don't remember exactly what it was. But all these appliances were set to shut down on a certain day. And it was
like the Y2K of
yeah, right. It's like, oh man, I'm hearing from all these folks like, yeah, my oven broke. It's like, what is going on with the ovens? It's I guess all the electronic, everything is scheduled to break in 2023. Apparently. I don't know.
Could be.
But you just smoked a ham as well.
I did,
And
yeah.
And that's something I want to talk about later. Maybe another episode we'll do that. But
Sure.
I definitely want today to talk about our expeditions in making bacon. Right? Like I said, I love saying it, making bacon, and it's something that is everyone loves bacon. I think anybody who loves barbecue, loves cooking, loves meat. Yeah, everyone,
too, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, wrapping bacon, just wrapping things in bacon. There are competitions where they do anything with bacon. Bacon is a great ingredient when it comes to a lot of foods, and so
where can I find those competitions, Chris?
Yeah. Well, the SCA steak competition.
Oh, really? They have
Steak
anything with
Cook-Off
bacon
Association.
category?
Some of them do. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some of them sure do. So yeah, absolutely, man. But you and I have both, put our hand to making bacon. There you go again.
Yeah.
and had pretty good results with it, and it's not that difficult, which is what's really cool.
No, it's not. I mean, I was a little worried about it.
Yeah.
But no, it's pretty good.
But you and I there's two things that we had in common. First of all, the cut of meat that you use and the amount of time that we cured.
Yes.
Right. So you start with a slab or a side, sometimes they'll say, of pork, which is basically just a slab of pork belly. So that's what we're starting with.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I cured for 7 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other than that, it completely splits off, and we did two completely different things. So if you go ahead and why don't you walk through exactly what you did, because if folks can pick up a side of side of pork or pork belly, right? You get the meat and you get the fat cap on that. That's what you're looking for.
You can buy the slabs anyway. Can you buy a full side?
Usually that's what they call the pork belly, is a side of pork.
Right. Yeah.
So not like a side of beef where you're getting half a cow.
No,
a side of pork is just the pork belly. So
I mean I used the full slab of the side, and mine was 11 pounds. I know I've seen you can buy smaller slabs. I don't. I guess at the right butchers you can buy.
Yeah, sometimes you can find them in like 2 pound, 3 pound sections. I think I had a 4 or 5 pound that I used, and so you said 7 or 11.
Mine was 11. I cut it into. I wound up cutting it into 6 slabs.
Okay.
So I mean they weren't all the same size, but roughly 2 pounds a slab, or almost 2 pounds a slab. So
sure.
They were kind of small, but that worked out for me because, I took those slabs. I took 2.5% kosher salt, and I mean, you want me?
Go ahead.
Now?
Yeah, okay. Tell us what you do.
2.5% kosher salt, and then I did about 0.4 of an ounce celery salt, I think it was. And then this is where I had written out an entire recipe that I wanted to follow, all the measurements, and just with many distractions in a home kitchen, I was mixing I got the salt, I got the celery salt, and then I go to do the smoked paprika or Spanish paprika, depending on what part of the country you're in. And I wound up putting 2 ounces of it in, which was way more than what my recipe called for.
Mm-hmm.
And it was turning into another busy afternoon. Dishes were piling up. Had to get supper started soon. So I'm like, I'm not gonna try to salvage recipe. I went with that. I think I added a tiny pinch of garlic powder and onion powder to that, and I just did it heavy in that smoked paprika.
Mm-hmm.
I divided it up among the 6 slabs, put them in 1 gallon Ziploc bags, and I let them dry cure, it's really still a wet cure, I guess, if you, but in my fridge, and for 7 days, like you said. I took those out and smoked them with some maple wood and the Fogo charcoal at 225 to 250 for I think the cook didn't take more than an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah. For those small pieces, I would imagine.
Yeah,
That's right.
it really wasn't long at all.
Mhm.
And then I took them off and I chilled them again in my fridge for another week. I cooked them until the internal was about 145, 140 to 145. They all came off at different times because they were different sizes. So
Yeah.
I was using Flame Boss. I put the meat probe in the smallest one, and then I just regularly probe the others because they're at different spots on the grill. They might be cooking unevenly or things like that. So
Mhm.
I just took my ThermalWorks and probed them frequently.
Okay.
And then I chilled them in my garage fridge again for another 7 days. I think I probably just stuck them in a Ziploc again or something like that. I don't remember what container I had them in.
But that wasn't necessary. You could have sliced it and cooked it any time.
Yes.
After that.
I mean, I would prefer to chill it before slicing it,
Mhm.
but
yeah, sure.
yeah, I mean, if you chilled it for 4 hours, it'd probably be fine.
Yeah.
If you wanted
I
it
got you.
chilled, but um, yeah, I did not have to do it. Wait another 7 days. It was just that's how I did it because I don't know, life probably got in the way.
Yeah,
I don't remember what was
sure,
going
yeah,
on
yeah.
that week exactly, but
Yeah, right.
so yeah, then after that 7 days, my wife got me for our anniversary, which was in December, a lamb big bite 10-inch meat slicer, and so I brought that out and I used that to let's see, I didn't slice up all 6 slabs. There were some that I kept for slab bacon.
Okay.
But I did slice up a good amount of it. I think I wound up getting 5 or 6 packages of sliced bacon that had like 12 or 13 slices in it.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah.
one downside of using the Lem Big Bite 10-inch is considered a home and commercial meat slicer. So it's got like commercial quality parts. It's not a commercial size, really.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's a pretty big meat slicer to have on your countertop or table, but it's not the size that you would find in a deli or a butcher shop. So the slices that I have are pretty short compared to like commercial bacon that you would go and buy, or if
Right.
you go to your butcher shop and pick up some bacon. But they're still long enough. They fit on sandwiches perfectly.
Sure.
And,
Yeah. Okay.
So I was happy with that. It took a little bit practice to figure out what kind of thickness I wanted, and to work out the plate on the limb meat slicer.
Yeah.
Has 2 knobs. You adjust it, the top and the bottom of the plate, and you have to get them even. Otherwise, you're going to be slicing on an angle, and some of my slices turned out like that. So having to tweak those and get that right. But any pieces that were not good slices of bacon that I would want to cook up for a meal, I cut into lardon and just strips of bacon.
Mm-hmm.
And I bagged those. I vacuum sealed everything. Like I said, I got 5 or 6 packages of sliced bacon. I got I think I got 2 or 3 packages of lardon, and then I got I think 5 slabs of bacon. So I started out, like I said, with 6 slabs, but some of those slabs I cut into smaller pieces to
gotcha.
package as slab bacon. So
Yeah. And it turned out good though. I mean, you've cooked some up. You've had some, made some.
yeah, we've cooked it a few times at my house, and it's good. It does have a pretty smoky flavor from the smoked paprika.
Right. Yeah.
But it's not overpowering. It's not bad. Next time, obviously, I'll change the recipe. I'll probably try to go with the recipe that I originally wrote down, and do that.
Okay.
But it's not bad.
Sure. Yeah.
I like it. My wife likes it. My kids like it enough.
Okay. That sounds
Actually,
good.
they really like the slab bacon. That is what they've liked. I've put that in dishes, and they've enjoyed that quite a bit.
Yeah, like chopped it up into cubes.
Yes,
Or,
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I made a potato dish once where
Mm.
it was like a cheesy potato dish that I had chopped up one of the slabs, and my kids like that a lot.
So basically, just a cured pork belly, right?
Yeah,
Ultimately,
I
is
mean,
what that became. Yeah, which is, I mean, that's
sure.
what bacon is.
Well,
but
you go to the
yeah,
some grocery stores. I know I at times I've tried to find slab bacon in grocery stores, and it's hard to find. Even if you live
yeah.
near in a big city where grocery stores tend to stock more stuff, it can be hard to find. And when you do find it, you get a small piece, and it's pretty expensive. So.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I was saying, because I've never found it. I don't. I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I've never found a place around here that had slab bacon. Right.
Right.
It's always sliced. It's always pre-sliced. So so unless you make your own, you're not going to get that pork slab of pork
Right.
belly.
Yeah.
So but awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, hold on just a second. We're gonna hear from one of our sponsors and come back with kind of what I did for my method of making some bacon. Kickashbasket.com. For all your grilling accessory needs, check out kickashbasket.com. Whether you're looking for charcoal management, you're looking for a can to help clean up all the ashes, you want some insulated gloves, or whatever the accessories you're looking for, go to kickashbasket.com. It doesn't matter if you've got a Kamado grill, ceramics, you've got the Weber or some other type of grill, the PK360. They've got charcoal baskets and other accessories like great lifters and things just for those specific grills, and they just might have what you're looking for to make your next cook a whole lot smoother and a whole lot easier. Check out kickashbasket.com. Yeah, and so my method is a little bit different. Although I started with a let's say a 4 or 5 pound slab of pork belly, and I didn't cut it up. I left it as just that, and let's say a 4 pounder, and I had a Ziploc that it would fit in. And so I took that Ziploc, and what I decided I was going to do is I followed kind of a Pitmaster X on YouTube's. A couple of things that he had done, kind of looking at and combined, and did my own little thing, kind of based on the inspiration that he had for me. But I took that and I'm going to talk in parts. So you have 1 part salt, and there's 2 parts total, right? So 1 part salt. And so for easier terminology here, let's say that's 1 full cup of salt. So a cup of salt, a 1/3 cup of sugar, a 1/3 cup of honey, and a 1/3 cup of either maple syrup or an apple syrup. All right. I had maple syrup, and so that's what I used. And just put all of that, all over that slab of pork belly, put it in the Ziploc, whatever was left, you poured it all into the Ziploc. And for 7 days, it was in the fridge. And every other day I would take and I would turn it over and just kind of move around all the things that were in it, get that salt and that sugar and the honey and the maple syrup all over that pork belly, and keep turning it over every other day for 7 days. After that 7 days, I took it out and I used maple wood as well. If I'd have used the apple, syrup, I would have used apple wood. But since I used maple syrup, I used maple wood. I put it on the smoker at 250 degrees, hold the Flame Boss holding it steady, and put a meat probe in it and brought it to an internal temp actually of 155 degrees. And then I pulled it off, let it rest. Now, I went ahead and sliced a couple pieces while it was warm. And after it had rested and ate some, and it was good just like that for sure. But I went ahead and put it in the fridge, let it completely cool and chill. And probably a day or two later, I pulled it out and I went ahead and sliced it. Now I don't have the LEM slicer or anything like that, so I was just using a shun knife and doing my best to, keep them as uniform and, thin slices as I could. I would say I eyeballed it, but everybody knows better than that. And so I just made my slices and fried some up. I used some in some dishes. Like you said, I did some bacon wrapped pork loin. I did some bacon wrapped fillets. I did quite
How
a few
did that
things.
turn out?
It was awesome.
Really? Because
Yeah.
cutting it by knife,
Yeah.
you got thin enough pieces to wrap with?
They were thick.
Okay. Well,
but so basically with
Long cook,
with the pork loin, what I did is instead of wrapping a pork loin,
Mhm.
I cut the pieces of bacon basically in half and laid them across the top of the pork loin and cooked it at a pretty high temp. So it worked out pretty well.
Okay.
So
Now-
but yeah,
So you're a fan of the sweet bacon, huh?
I am.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind sweet bacon. I think I like the salty or savory bacon
Yeah,
better.
well, I mean, I like them both, but for what I was planning on using it for, I really wanted the sweetness,
Okay.
to contrast some of the other cooks that I was going to be doing and adding it in. So I wanted a little bit of that contrast, and I knew I'd be doing a lot of breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. It's late, brother.
It is like
I think we're both tired.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to use it for a lot of breakfast cooks. And so that was going to be one of those things where, if we were going to have some folks over, which we planned on doing and making some, in fact, my kids were still around actually when I had done this the last time, but we did pancakes and waffles. And so they're going to be using syrup. And so that the bacon just went really well, with that kind of thing. So, so it worked out good.
How much did you yield in sliced bacon? I guess
A lot.
Yeah,
It was a lot. Yeah.
because you said it was a 4 or 5 pound slab.
It was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a nice.
Because when you go buy
big
a
slab.
1 pound package of sliced bacon, thick cut stuff,
Mhm.
what you probably get about 10 to 12 pieces in there. What?
I don't know. Never counted.
Okay.
I think I can get a little bit more than that. Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. But I don't know. That's a good question.
How did you come up with the
Oh.
volume of your measurements? I know the ratio you said you got from Pitmaster X. How did you determine like 1 cup of salt?
Well, what I did is I put enough. I got enough salt to put all over the pork belly. That was the
Okay.
first thing. I covered it with salt, and so I took that as 1 part, right? And so, but to make it easy, 1 part, I said was 1 cup, but
Right.
it was more than that. Actually.
Oh, was it? Okay.
It was more than that. But whatever that 1 part was, divide that by 3, right? And then you get a third of that part. So a third part sugar, a third part honey, and
So
a
you
third part.
smothered it
Yeah,
completely.
absolutely.
Did you have to desalinate it? With wait, that's not the right word, is it? The what is it when you soak it after you cure it?
No,
You rinse it and then you have to soak it because
No,
it's
I
too
did not.
salty.
No.
Okay.
nope, sure didn't.
All right.
No,
Did I use the right word there?
I have no
I don't
idea.
know.
I don't know.
I have to go reference someone who knows more than me again.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, which is not me. Because when it comes to cooking, which I think we established that the last couple of times you've been on, you dive into this cooking stuff so much more than I do when it comes to some of these technical terms, and
It's not always a good thing.
but I learn a lot.
From me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
absolutely.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
Sure.
You're making me blush.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't think with the with all the sweetness you had in there, sugar and honey and maple syrup.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
Mhm.
I would not think that you'd have to worry about it being too salty, even if you put half a pound of salt in there.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was
Uh,
enough to cover the pork belly.
if
I mean,
you're going
yeah.
savory though, that is something you might have to consider, unless you really like salt to no end. I mean, some people don't care how salty their meat is, I suppose, especially something like bacon. And I tend to not care. Really salty bacon tastes good to me, but at least I have not experienced this because the bacon I talked about was my first batch of bacon. I'm just going off of some of the research I did. But,
sure. Yeah.
I know you said you used the Pitmaster X method. I used well, I don't want to say I used his
Guga
method
Foods or
because
something?
it was Chud's Barbecue,
Okay.
and I don't know, like in his method, I think he uses pink salt, not Himalayan salt, but like pink curing salt.
Yeah.
And instead of that, I use celery salt.
Well,
But he uses an equilibrium.
Yeah.
There's a go ahead. Sorry.
Well, of all the things that I really want to get across to folks and hope people walk away from this episode is that you can do it.
Yes.
Right. I mean, there's all kinds of ways, all kinds of methods. And as a matter of fact, that Pitmaster X YouTube channel, I bet you he's got half a dozen or more different videos of making bacon that many different ways himself, right? This isn't the only way he does it. He does it a lot of different ways. And that was just kind of one thing that I took and manipulated and changed a little bit, a couple things. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things out there to teach you how to do this. And it's easy. It is super easy to do. And a lot of times you can buy a whole pork belly and the ingredients if you're willing to take the time, and you can get a whole lot more bacon this way than you can for cheaper rather than you can buying 1 or 2 pound packages of bacon at the store.
Yeah.
It's so much cheaper to do it.
I mean,
this way.
I think I pay, if I buy bacon from my butcher, it's probably $7 or $8 a pound.
It's
It's
crazy.
expensive. Yeah,
It is. I mean, everything is expensive. Everything is way up there nowadays. But buying, like I said, buying the pork belly is so much cheaper. Even once you get those ingredients, which a lot of times people have those things. A lot of folks, they have the salt, they have the sugar. They've, some people will have the honey, and some people will have the maple syrup. And you can probably change some things around and leave out the honey and double up on the maple syrup, or vice versa. On that, you could probably do that and get away with it.
Sure, you could probably use brown sugar. That'd be good.
Absolutely,
yeah. I mean, if you have apple juice, reduce it into a syrup and use that. I mean, anything sweet, as long as you think that flavor would go good on your bacon. I mean,
yeah, that's right. That's right.
If you want to do something like the equilibrium method, even that I used, I didn't. I found a website that has a calculator where you can put it in, and you can put in all your, you can do it for wet and dry curing. So if you wanted to cure in a brine, in a water brine, you could make all the calculations for both. And
Okay.
I went with the 2.5% salt. That's a pretty common ratio for things like sausage making and curing.
Gotcha.
So that's what I went with. But it's something that you're going to have to do several times to, no matter what method you use, you're going to do it several times. And every time you're going to tweak it more to what you think you're going to like. But it is not difficult to turn out a tasty product. That's for sure.
Right. And even if you want to tweak it some, you're not going to you're not going to throw out what you made because it turned out bad.
It's still going to taste good.
That's
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
It's going to be good.
Definitely.
Absolutely. It's going to be great. And so you'll have a good usable product, and you'll learn something, and you can change some things and tweak it, like you said, which is the awesome thing about cooking anyway, right? About this whole process, and you talk about making, we could talk about making appetizers, main dishes, just using the bacon as an ingredient. You can cater or, manipulate that flavor profile of that pork belly to fit what kind of cook you want to use it in. If you're going to use that as an ingredient. Like I said, I wanted the sweet because of some of the things we were going to be doing. Right. But definitely I could see where I wouldn't want the sweet if I'm going to be doing, like the pig shots or some other type of appetizer or something. I want more savory and I don't want the sweet. more of a spicy kind of thing, I can see where I would want to do more of just the salt and not the sweet. Absolutely. So, but that's the great thing about this. You can do it. And that's what I hope everybody will take away from this is the fact that they can do it. It is something that it's easy, it's simple, it can save money, and you can really put your own little twist to it and be like, yeah, I made this bacon, and you can serve it to folks and they'll be like, wow, that's really, really good bacon.
It's something, that you're gonna want to do more than once. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's there's so many possibilities with the flavors, and kind of like sausage making, or you mentioned.
Sure.
I cured that ham. I mean, these are all things that I'm fairly new at, but it's almost like before I run out of what I made, I'm already thinking of all the things I want to do in the future. So
sure, yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, and isn't that exciting though? I mean, that's like,
yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. You start thinking about that, and
it keeps me coming back to the smoker.
That's right. Yeah. Amen to that. Amen to that.
Now, I wanted to ask you a question, Chris, unless you're wanting to wrap up here. But
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you try to avoid situations where you have to weigh a lot of ingredients or anything?
I
like
do.
that?
I don't do that. I've messed up a lot of things,
right,
in both cooking and in woodworking. Because believe it or not, there are certain things that require weight measurements rather than like a liquid measurement when it comes to ounces. And like we were doing in this epoxy cure on a wood table, for example, and there were two parts of this epoxy that we had to mix together. And my wife reads the directions, and in my mind, I'm just like, oh, okay. So we measured out, however many ounces it said, in like a measuring cup, right? A measuring in ounces that way. Well, it was weight. You were supposed to do it by weight. Yeah. And so that didn't turn out too good. And so I've done that with food as well, where there are things where you measure it out. A lot of bread making, right? I think pizza dough sometimes you get with the flour and certain things. They want to measure things out by weight rather than by cups or what some of the dry measurements. A lot of times it's by weight, and I've messed that up. And so I've avoided the weight way of measuring things.
You have a scale though, right?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've measured how much things weigh, like meat, but I've not measured ingredients.
Okay.
To find out. So no, I haven't done that. I haven't done that again. So, and that's what you're talking about, right? When you're given your 2 things of salt, are you dry?
Oh, like 2.5% salt. Yeah. So I weigh the meat, and then I just take 2.5% of the weight of the meat. So 11 pounds, I think, came out to about.
Well, I'm glad we cleared that up, because I was. You kept saying that, and I
should have explained that. I'm sorry.
I'm wondering. I kept thinking in my mind, I need to ask about that, and then I kept forgetting as we went on. But I'm glad. Okay, so the weight of the amount of pork belly that you had, you took 2.5% of that.
Yeah. So if you have 1 pound, 16 ounces, you would take 2.5% of that, which.
So if you had a 10 pound, you'd be
that's 160 ounces.
2.5 pounds of salt.
Yeah, you could say 1.6 ounces would be 1%. Salt.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I totally see. That's
so, here you go.
2 pounds of
4
salt.
ounces of
salt.
salt.
Oh man, yeah, right. Again, this is why I don't measure weight.
I hear you. Well, I bought. I shop I spent a ridiculous amount of time looking for a scale that was good for blind people to measure out ingredients. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of scales there, but there's things I didn't like about them. And granted, this is basing it off of just internet descriptions and not actually trying these products. So
Yeah,
they
sure.
might be good products. I have friends who swear by some of them that they're, fine scales. I wanted one that went up to more than 11 pounds. To find a
Oh, yeah.
talking scale that goes over 11 pounds is pretty hard.
Yeah,
Um,
it is.
And I also wanted one that had a big surface and that was pretty accurate in measuring to the gram, or the hundredth.
I don't want a
of an ounce.
lot. I just want it all.
Well, I figured it out though. All right, the Bluetooth scales. Go with those.
Oh, there you go.
You know what? I went with I cannot remember what it's called, but if it's on the website is smartscale.com.
Okay.
I think I want to say smartscale.com, and they have a handful of scales for sale. And I got it off of Amazon, but I researched it on the website, and it's the biggest model. I think it costs about $50. It weighs up to, I think it'll weigh things up to 33 or 35 pounds, something like that, and it's marketed as a food/postage scale because it has a big flat surface, and there's a number of apps you can download for it. Some of the apps are accessible with voiceover or partly accessible with voiceover. One of the apps is actually talking scale.
Okay.
It can be a little annoying because it doesn't stop repeating the number while you're doing it.
Sure.
But if you can tolerate that, it might be something you like. It can measure
Yeah.
in ounces, grams, pounds, kilos, and then
Gotcha.
it also has various fluid measurements.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
For measuring things. I mean, it's a pretty cool scale. You can charge it up. It's you don't have to put batteries in it. You can't. I think it did it take batteries or I don't know. You can use it while it's plugged in, so that's an important thing because it always dies when I after I charge it up and I go put it in the box, and I don't know if it's how I have it set in the cabinet or what. Something triggers it, but it's always dead when I go to use it. But the only thing I don't like about it is that it's the buttons on the actual scale are not tactile. So when you go to turn it on, you can't feel what the button is, but you can fix that with a bump dot.
Yeah, sure.
But I've found that being able to have my phone sort of integrated into the control of devices has worked well.
Yeah. That can definitely be helpful. It doesn't always work, but
Right.
when
yes.
it does work, it's that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So you just got to be careful because sometimes you get those not knowing if it's going to work or not,
Yeah.
whether it's accessible or not. So sometimes it's a hit and miss kind of thing. But you hit. It sounds like it. You hit it. It was great. So
Yeah.
So that definitely works. Because I mean, I would love to be able to measure some of the briskets and stuff that I do, but I don't have a scale that'll measure that much weight. Like you said, 11 pounds is the max, I think, on mine. And I've had some 15, 16. I think right now I've got 2 18-pound briskets for a cook I'm doing next week. And yeah, I don't have a way to measure those here at the house at all.
Well, our buddy Bruce Brooks, he has told me because he cooks a lot of meat.
Mhm.
He butchers his own meat, rabbits and things like
Yeah.
that. He's told me that, and this is one of the conversations I had with him when I was trying to figure out what scale to purchase because he's one of the friends I mentioned that swears by. He's got one of the talking scales. It's I forget which one it is, but it's one of the common ones you're gonna find. There's only a few of them really.
Right.
And he just takes his bathroom scale and then he'll take like a plastic tub or something
Oh,
and
yeah.
put his meat in there and weigh it on there. Which if you have a talking bathroom scale,
Yeah.
you could do it. I mean, you won't get it down to the ounce, so if that's important to you, then yeah, you definitely want something probably more along the lines of what I bought might work for you.
Right. Awesome. Well, I mean, all those are great tips. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of that using a bathroom scale. I don't have a talking bathroom scale, but if I
No?
did, that would be, why do I care? I don't.
I know it. I'm just
I'm not measuring myself. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. So
I don't use mine, so
yeah. Oh man. Well, yeah. That's not something we need to talk about. We could be like my brother-in-law, and who bought his wife a bathroom scale for her birthday or something, like her Christmas or something.
Did it talk?
No,
Oh.
no, but they're sighted; they don't need it. But that wasn't the best thing to get your wife.
No, you don't tell her it talks, and you give it to her at her birthday party, and she steps on it in front of her friends and family.
You're just trying to make it worse for him, aren't
Yeah.
you? It's bad enough he got her a scale. She wasn't happy.
No, why would she be? What an
No,
awful gift.
that's
He's
right.
been married long enough to know.
I know it. Yeah, he
Where did
should
he get that idea?
Oh man, I can't. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be getting a phone call.
The husbands listening to this,
That's right. That's right.
they understand. Listen, don't problem solve.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Man, oh man. All right. Well, brother, I mean, I appreciate you coming on, man. I always enjoy having you, and hopefully we can do this a little bit more often.
Yeah, Chris, it's my pleasure. Hopefully, I'll be settled in a point where I can get set up, and yeah, I can join you more often.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome.
That would be great. We could talk about ham.
That's right. And more ham and ham and ham and ham. Oh, we got a lot more than ham to talk about. That's for sure.
Yeah, I could go on for hours.
Yeah, man. Well, we just might do that as time goes on in future podcasts, but not today. Not today. All right. All right, folks. Vince, again, thank you very much for joining me on today's podcast. Folks, if you want to shoot us an email, blindgrilling@gmail.com. You got some questions, let us know about it. Give us a thumbs up, share out the podcast as well. And remember, if you're looking, you ain't cooking.